Welcome to the Corie Sheppard Podcast. My name is Corie Sheppard. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Thank you for all the new listeners. Today we have with us President of Pan Trinbago. What else I should say? It's Beverly Ramsey-Moore with handlers. What are you going on?
I am doing well today.
You're good? One of your many titles are calling, right?
Yes.
We get to all the titles before we leave?
Of course. Of course.
All right. I could start with the first title you give me. You tell me before we start that you was in acting and drama and all them things, right? So we're looking for plenty acting and drama here. When does acting and drama happen? This is known. People know this?
Wow. I don't think so, in my early days in my community of Black Rock, as you know, I am from a fishing cultural community. And we have a very strong village council. And so, there is this great festival, which is the Tobago Heritage Festival. And somewhere in 1992, 1993, I was a member of the Tobago House of Assembly at the time. And I was also the leader of the Black Rock Progressive Youth Organization. And that group did one part of the Black Rock Heritage Festival production, which was the drama part. Mm-hmm. And so I always saw myself in that acting role. And therefore, I was always the mother, the leader, I also wrote the plays and stuff. Yeah. And so we always portrayed the fisher folk characters in our community. And my grandmother, one of them, or at least two of my grandmothers, were fisher women taking this big basket of fish on their hands, walking throughout Tobago to sell, to come back to in those days, families were about 10 children, 11 children, and we know what it was in the olden days with our men. Mm-hmm. In Tobago men.
I don't know. I don't
know if it's the fish or whatever, but plenty children. And so these women had to sell to maintain their families. So I came from that. So I was really good in putting that together and being on stage, dramatizing, whether it's Star Lorna or one of those characters.
I got you. So you're accustomed to the stage. The stage you're comfortable with.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're putting you on stage today. Tobago is a special place to us on this podcast, right? Before you start, I'll tell you, Tobago Kylas get very excited to hear about places like Black Rock and these things. When you want to take over, you want to talk about that the whole time. So I had to ask you about your upbringing in Tobago. Like, what was life like growing up for you in Black Rock?
Well, as a child, I lived really close to the beach. As I said, Black Rock is a fishing community. And I grew up in an extended family. All right. So, you're there with your mother and your grandmother and your grandfather, your aunts and everybody. And those were good days. Good days, because one of the things that I loved about that is that there was one yard pot. Mm-hmm. And everybody ate from that pot. And that yard pot is a symbol of community. And that pot not only fed the extended family, but it also fed the neighbors' children. And
that was the extended family in a way,
that's right? Mm-hmm. That's right. And so so that's why I think I am that kind of resilient individual, because once you grow up around the fisher folk, listen to me, on the Bayside, gotta learn to cuss.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because my grandfather, as nice as he was, when that seine, because he owned a seine and a boat, when that seine brought in that fish to shore, his character changed.
Yeah.
He changed because then everybody will advantage you.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was a ladies' man, I should say.
Yeah.
And so all the ladies line up with their bowl looking for free fish. So at that time, he was a beast, because no, I can't give away, because then I have to take care of my family. So that entire fishing community, being on the Bayside as a girl growing up, I think that is what would have helped to propel me and to prepare me for things like President of Pan Trinbago, member of the Tobago House of Assembly, that love and that caring, that servant leadership, and all of that. I think I really got that from my roots on the Bayside.
Gotcha. I like the idea of the servant leadership. That is an important thing. And being the president of Pan Trinbago, your own resilience. We've seen it over the years. Like I was looking this morning at some of the articles when you pull up your name, and plenty of it comes in. It's in defense, you have to defend this and defend that and so on. So I want to ask you about the moments when you were elected president of Pan Trinbago, first woman president of Pan Trinbago. Congrats on that. How it felt at the time?
Well, there was a journey before that, so that you will understand the emotion when I was eventually elected. Now, somewhere in about 2013, I really wanted to bring about positive change in the organization. As a matter of fact, I was elected under the Patrick Arnold regime in 2009. I was on Patrick's slate, but his slate did not win. And I really tried to bring about proper governance in terms of the structure and the operations of Pan Trinbago at that time, but predominantly male-driven. I was not taken, seriously. I was always seen as that Tobagonian, that bacchanalist, creating confusion and things like, this is not the Tobago House of Assembly, so you could run it anyhow. So there was a bitter war with me and those gentlemen from about 2013, 14, 15, somewhere around 16 or 17, I was made persona non grata. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Imagine me and a section, those who supported me, we were banned from attending any of Pan Trinbago's events. Mm-hmm. We could not enter Pan Trinbago. Imagine persona non, oh my God. In Trinidad and Tobago.
It really shouldn't happen to nobody in Trinidad and Tobago.
It should not happen, And so there's where the struggle, but I did not give up.
Right.
Knowing me, I am driven. One word I could best describe myself is driven. I have that passion to succeed. Right. And so in 2018, the membership gave me the opportunity, but at that time, Pan Trinbago did not have a cent. The organization was penniless. The organization was broke. The organization's name at that time was, not so good, I should say, staying. The people really did not want to have nothing much. The corporate Trinidad, they did not support. The government also withdrew support because there were audits that were done and all of that. And they gave it to me and my team. We were Team Rebuild at that time. And so in October of 2018, we were elected. And so there, I say this, that you can understand, though it was perilous time, but I did not give up. I did not give in. As a matter of fact, at the first meeting that we had with the membership, I said to them, this journey is like taking a big stone on my head and trying to go up a mountain. And the big stone was the debt that we were in. But from where we came from to where we are now, we are definitely in a much better place. And for that, I feel a sense of satisfaction. And that is what motivates me to go the next distance. Yeah.
I saw recently a thing published saying that the budget now is in the surplus of 600,000 or so. That's the last audit or so?
That's right. Mm-hmm. And we, over the years, I think it's our 5th year of clean audits or unqualified audit opinion. Mm-hmm. And we have done a lot of work. I have a very good team. We have been working hard. I have worked extremely hard through negotiations to provide them with the resources so that we can bring about this positive result. Yeah.
Oh, with you. So we leading up now to the launch of Panorama 2026, right? How it feeling going in? Panorama for me start like semis, I put my cards on the table, right? As a man, is Panorama start for me when it's fete season. For you, it starts in November, yes?
Well, listen. We have declared in Pan Trinbago, there is no season for Pan. Pan Trinbago, we are not a Panorama organization. We have several bands, over 200 registered bands. And as such, our business, according to the Act of Parliament, our business is to ensure that we do all in our powers to provide for all our steel bands and to create opportunities for them, to create that enabling environment so that we can prosper in all things. Mm-hmm. And so during the year, we ensure that there are several activities. And by November, we are ready to launch out with the single pan category. We agreed, and the membership agreed, that we should separate the competition. Panorama is a festival, and it is one that impacts on community development, on youth development, on social development. It's not just going and enjoying the part that you like.
Licking,
no,
that's my part.
For me, is bringing the people together in the community, the practice session, the socio-economic factors of the Panorama Festival. So in November, definitely, we are going to have this launch, and this year, our theme is legacy. We need to protect the legacy of our forefathers and to ensure that the young people carry it on. So yes, it's going to be exciting again in November. We launch on the 9th, and it is going to be a special launch because up close and center, the people must be involved. And so we look forward to that day, and I'm sure I'm going to see you there.
Yeah, but if David have any say about that, I will be there for sure. I'll be there for sure.
All right, David will be there in his All-Stars jersey.
He has to answer questions, so he has to ask questions. I'm confused. What was going on here? No, so you're in a previous interview saying Panorama, which is true when I heard it, that is Pan is the only thing that really sells out the Savannah in the same way. I didn't say sell out the Avenue. It's pretty much selling out everywhere it go. Port of Spain all the way to the Savannah, seen several events year-round. So that part of your stewardship is to ensure that we have a year-round feel for Pan, and people like myself get more involved.
Pan is a good spirit. When you talk about good spirit, it's the Steelpan. When you think of hearing that instrument, and you see how some people has really behave. It captivates. It fills you with a kind of power. You know, I could use my little Tobago dialect every now and then, with a kind of power.
Yeah.
You know, because it came from the drums. When you think about where it came from the African drums and the rhythm, and a drum that sends messages, that sends signals. So it signals to your brain that you could behave good or you could behave real wassy. You could behave real bad.
Yeah.
You know, in a good sense, because if you notice that steel band events, there's no violence there, no. Sometimes I wonder why we had to pay so much money to police and fire and all these people, you know.
I go tell you why now. Why?
Oh gosh, because nothing happens. Nothing happens. But of course, we need them for safety and security. Peradventure, something should go wrong. So we love our policemen, we love our firemen, you know.
Them come to your pan too, them I want them things to
Them come to your pan too, yeah. But you know, the events are really safe, and so we've decided that we're going to separate the categories. So in November, we do single pan, and then immediately after that, we do the small band category, moving into the medium and the large. Savannah Party, whoa, within recent years, is real mashup.
Yeah, you're seeing it, and it's swelling, you know, it's swelling. Yes. Even with the social media crowd, like the ones you work with today, the social media squad, you know, you're seeing more and more of it as the events come about. But I saw one time, and I refer to it all the time, where President Christine Kangaloo would have come out and said the Panyard as a community and building that model. I wonder what was your thoughts on that?
Oh, yes. You know, we were very happy for the endorsement because, you know, we have been using the Panyards years upon years now to transform lives. And in Pan Trinbago, we say Pan is community soul. You think of long ago, the steel band came out of the villages from every nook and cranny. And the people just come together in a particular space. They came together in a space. The loyalty, you know what it is to wear your jersey? Is a Renegades, is a All-Stars, is a Jammers,
It's like the big football leagues, right? Everybody, yeah.
Listen, that sense of pride and ownership, there is nothing else that I know in Trinidad and Tobago that drives that kind of passion. And that is why I am so proud to lead, to be the leader. I mean, I've done a lot of things in my life, but to see being president of Pan Trinbago, providing that leadership where we can use the instrument to unite, as we say, listen, it cuts across political boundaries, racial boundaries. Look at what's happening. You see what's going on in the North Stand? Anybody business with who? White, red, black, pink,
Nothing,
blue?
yeah, it's just one.
One love. One love. And that is what I like about that circle of love with those notes. And listen, when you listen, I am so, the instrument is so pregnant with possibilities. the very belly of the pan, let me tell you, you see those magicians or those obeah that sung that drum and realized that those notes, the deeper you go, the higher the sound. We don't even understand. We don't understand it.
Well, let me tell you how much I didn't understand. When you talk about the drums coming from West Africa, in particular, our history, right? And some things that I don't know, I can't explain some of the things we embrace, the parts of our history versus the parts that we try to run from so far. But I can tell you, a shame, because my first Panorama finals was this year, right? Don't tell nobody I say so, right? We could cut that part out, right? It was this year.
Bring the belt. Bring the belt.
And I reached just about the time I reached here, late like hell too, just like I reached here today.
I'm ready to get into my drama now. Play the mother role. I'm ready to beat you.
A bigger table.
Yeah. Bring the belt. I'm ready to share licks right now. First time.
First time. Virgin experience. But I can tell you.
Tell me about it.
The first band, because I reached, just so happened that I reached between bands. I've been on the drag before, I've been to semis and things before, but what I felt in the grandstand that day could only be explained spiritually. There's no other way to explain it. I wanted to run it. We had a fellow from the church here last week. When he started preaching, I wanted to come out. I started to feel warm. I said, boy, I ain't sure if I will survive this. And I felt like that then. It felt like it was not an audience watching a thing. It was just one thing. It was you couldn't hide from it. The power that came from those bands was something else.
Definitely. When you see the players behind the instrument, and you see our arrangers, those guys that take a song and lie down. I looked at Dr. Len Bugsy Sharp. He arranged for my band at one time. And he would just take a walk, go outside, because he's listening for something. It could be the vehicle that passed, trigger something in his brain. It can be maybe a bird or a bee or maybe the trees and just a song that he will hear and then transfer that into music. And that is why I am so proud of our arrangers, our tuners, and all those who are part of the industry for their contribution, really development of the Steelpan. Yeah?
It's so funny. Like, you start by talking about what that fishing village meant to you as a girl growing up in Tobago, and I feel like the Panyard does the same thing for you. You could learn to cuss. It's the same things you're saying. I wonder how come we stray so far sometimes from the things that make our communities rich, The
family today, is a social fabric of society and the foundation. And I think people are just too busy minding their own business. The village that raised the child. If I remember sometime, you pass somebody straight on the road and they tell your parents. And they also had a license to flog you too,
Of course.
But I don't know what has happened. I don't know what has happened. And for our people, we are too divided. We are divided by religion. What is the reason for all of them churches, Papa?
Mm-hmm.
Before you and somebody fall out, you're going to open a church somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking the truth. Maybe I must be talking too much. But the thing about it, you see, messaging,
important.
Very important.
Yeah. I grew up in St. James, so when you say, I grew up in a place where religion, it was all them church, mandir, temple, mosque, it was all of the things. But I can tell you, as a little boy growing up in St. James, we went all. Because I know that wherever it have a fast, it is have a feast and food go share and we go eat. It's like an experience. It's so similar to what I experienced one time going harvest in, I believe it was Delaford. And when you talk about feeding the village, that was one of the first times I saw that, where the pots come out in the middle.
Of
everybody
course.
cook and everybody come together and eat from one thing.
So we need to get a message and to get a message right. And we have to get back to the very fabric of society, which is the family. And the family is now, you hardly have extended family. Yeah? People are just busy, the grandparents. Some people, not everybody, and I do hope that that kind of culture that I see now in Trinidad and Tobago emerging, where we can't fight up with the grandparents anymore.
Yeah. The idea is to progress is leave the house, go somewhere far enough where they can drive and come and see you all the time. Wait, I forget my mother listening to this. I can't say this.
No. It's a serious concern.
Yeah, it is.
It's a serious concern. And that everybody is just busy. That family life, we are just too busy. Long ago we used to have every month or so, or even if it's twice per year, that family coming together so you would know the cousins and you would know the uncles. And so now the children don't even know some of the cousins and all of that. And I think there is where we need to revisit to bring back that community love, that bond, and that spirit, as we do in the Panyard.
Yeah, the Panyard creates in that family.
That's right.
Somebody I had here recently was talking about how joyful he felt when he sees the parents bringing them from where Pan come from. There was a time where parents trying to hide you from the Panyard, or licks if you go in the Panyard. So now the parents very, very involved.
Not now. So it's intergenerational, as we say. So when the children come, because you notice a lot of the children will be coming to the Panyard, and then when they come, mommy's coming, daddy's coming, then the big sister is coming, your grandmother coming, because they want to see the little one perform. And once they come to the Panyard, they're so captivated, they don't want to leave at all. Yeah.
I heard Pelham talk about Exodus Panyard being a sort of university, making sure that the youths come straight through. That's something that we see in common through Panyards, no?
That's right. We prepare them for life, and the discipline. One of the amazing things for me, the magic in a Panyard, and as a pan leader, as a Steelpan manager, some of these same children or some of these same young people that you may see idling, that is before they came in the Panyard, right? But when you welcome them in, and especially when you're doing panorama practice or stage side practice, and you see those young people standing behind that instrument of love, and that drill master is having them go over a phrasing, as they like to call it, over and over again, and you just stand up behind it, playing over and over, and you can't leave. And sometimes you're playing that one phrasing for 25 minutes. The drilling to get it right.
Yeah, they say don't play till you get it right. Play till you can't get it wrong.
And it tells you about the discipline. How you can just stand up there, follow instructions. Don't course. That is a Steelpan word. Don't play when I talking. Don't strum. Don't do anything.
Focus.
Don't just focus. And that is what I like about it. It prepares you for life. You build patience. So young men and young ladies, listen, in a relationship, patience. Take things, it prepares you for life. So there's particular life skills that you learn in a Panyard.
Yeah, so I reject this notion when I see how much youths in Pan now, that youths today have no discipline and we had discipline long time. I think they're more disciplined than me for sure. When I see the paces that they go through and the pride that they have in our national
That's
instrument.
right.
So when you talk national pride, right, I'd ask you questions that confuse me, right? All my questions is complete ignorance, eh? Because I went to a place named Newtown Boys School. What school you went again?
Blackrock Government.
Blackrock Government, right? They used to teach you that Pan was a national instrument because they would teach me in school.
Yes.
It's on the copybook. You remember them Trinidad thing and thing?
Of course.
Yeah. So how they now announced that 2-3 years ago? I confused. This coming like Sparrow say Cuttridge was a damn fool. So I don't know what they teach me in school when they say Pan was a national instrument.
So yes, I think basically it was from since 1992 when former Prime Minister Patrick Manning in an Independence Day message, he in his speech he mentioned that Pan is the Steelpan, I should say, is a national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. And since that time, everyone would have been referring to the Steelpan as a national musical instrument. Now, what Pan Trinbago did since then is to ensure that every August we celebrate the Pan.
Right.
So there was Pan month. So every August from since then, but it was not formally declared by the Parliament. It was not law. There was no legal protection that it was indeed the national musical instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. And so under my watch, and a number of other persons out there in Trinidad and Tobago, like Mr. Harper and others who were advocating, we decided to raise it with our line minister at the time And then, of course, he would have gone to cabinet, and it was formally agreed by the parliament, and both sides of the house, both opposition and government, supported. And then it was assented to by the president.
Yeah. What I heard you in an interview as well say that Pan are wrong long before independence, right? Which is true. What do you think was in the way? Why would it take from 1992 to 2052 to decide that we need legislation for this? What do you feel anyway?
If you study the history of the Steelpan and the Steelpan movement, it was born out of struggle, resilience. It was not socially acceptable. So there was always a fight. I mean, one of the things as we're talking here, I think we must check the law books. I still think it is there as a noisy instrument. Girls remind me to that might be the next mission that we have to go after.
Yeah.
But so it was a struggle for acceptance, and slowly, I think it was Dr. Eric Williams who started to reach out to corporate Trinidad and Tobago to support the steel band, and then corporate Trinidad and Tobago started sponsoring bands, and through sponsorship, bands or players now were able to socialize and mix with the big wigs. In those days, so you're in the social functions and you're playing. And
you're
important now. You dress up in the blazers, and so the acceptance was very, very slow. And one of the things I believe that would have helped, and I have to blow my own trumpet here. Yeah. Let me blow my own trumpet a little bit. I think under my leadership, after we cleaned up the image, because you see what happened to when you talk Steelpan, everybody watching Pan Trinbago. It should not be that way, because Steelpan is Trinidad and Tobago. And so even governments and corporate, once you say Steelpan, you're looking at the organization that is responsible for the steel bands. But in terms of Pan as an industry, in terms of the development, in terms of Pan bringing in foreign exchange and all of that, that needed more than Pan Trinbago. So there should be a collaboration between Pan Trinbago and the various stakeholders in government and out of government.
Yeah, private and public.
And so that's right. But we've seen a movement forward in terms of the embrace since I became president.
Yeah, I found this like a learning process for me when I heard they talking about Eric Williams at the time saying corporate sponsorship and it'll lead into that.
Yes.
Because sometimes I think about our festivals, Pan being maybe the biggest one, and why we dependent on government subventions and government support when we have private events that could do well. I feel anything that we make could sell. But when I heard that, I started to connect some dots in my mind. I said, well, I understand what the endorsement does when the politicians might say something as
Of course, it's very, very important. And you know what helped transform and give the organization a great push? The music festival, Steelpan Music Festival. When they started playing all these classicals and the world looking in and all of that. And also, as you know, the first time we exported our talent was in 1951 with Taspo going to England and performing, and then everybody looking at these old rusty drums and being really, really thrilled. And so a lot of work has been done. But now the push, and we have a very powerful marketing team at Pan Trinbago now. The push is all about global ascendancy. And so we see a number of international agencies reaching out to us now, inviting us to come and to tell our story. And so we are going out there in terms of the awareness and the branding. Our embassies out there now embracing, and they know now that they have their cultural officers who must push the steel pan, and then we would have been able to get World Steel Pan Day. That is another big moment for me as this little girl this big little girl grew up from the fishing village of Blackrock, Tobago, sitting in the sacred halls of the United Nations to see one of our ministers move a motion or a resolution, I should say, and for that special day in August as World Steel Pan Day. And I mean, when I saw that unfolding before my eyes, it had to bring tears, you know?
Yeah.
It had to bring tears. And so that's why we now have the 11th of the 8th celebrated as World Steelpan Day. And when the chairman of the session was asking, will any more countries sign on to this resolution? And you're just hearing ping, 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 ping.
Yeah.
Listen, that was a moment for Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why, for me, as president, I cannot sit back and allow the legacy to be trampled upon or to be diminished.
Yeah.
Knowing where it came from, knowing the fight, knowing the Bajon days, knowing how many persons got killed, knowing how many persons were jailed, knowing how many persons were called rogues and vagabonds, and to know where we are today. So that is why even recently, when I saw 3 of the 3 top bands just losing their sponsorship, bam! Just as we came out of World Steelpan Day celebration, after we have worked so hard to put Pan on the center stage again. Corporate Trinidaders, they have social responsibility to support, you know the work that we do as leaders, the invaluable contribution that we make when we too play a role to govern this country for free. Because the moment young people come in a Panyard, and we hold them there, they could have been out there with a gun, you know.
Of course.
Instead of picking up a gun or a cutlass, they pick up 2 sticks.
Mm-hmm.
2 sticks of love. 2 sticks with passion. 2 sticks that telling their brain to do positive things. That for me is what it is all about. So yes, we will always be dependent on state for support because we are helping to hold these young people in a holding bay, which is the Panyard boot camp.
It makes sense. You know, I have a son who was 12, 13. And I tell him, brother, you had to learn to play music. We come from a little bit of a musical family, right? I say, you could do well in school and think, I want you to do well in school. But you had to play music and you had to play sports. I don't need you to become a musician or become a professional sportsman. I just needed to learn what those things teach you. Because music, the music kind of friend. The music have a funny thing where it's either you play any time you're talking about or you didn't play it. You could be rich, you could be poor, black, white, or indifferent. All or young. If you don't play any time with an instrument, it shows when you come back there. So, and you talking about the Panyard and how it saved us, but an article that I read is you dealing with your own crime situation in this country. Things that's surreal to me when I read about it. You had a situation where people come home by you and...
You read that?
I did.
Oh my gosh. Listen, that was a moment indeed.
This is home is in Blackrock?
Right home in Blackrock. Right in my, I will never forget that day. I was in my room. I was there. My husband had just retired and I don't like to go back there, So, I think a storm was heading to St. Martin. It was a really bad storm at the time.
Right.
On that day, and the storm was heading to St. Martin. And so here it is, I was in conversation with one of our former players who was married and migrated to St. Martin. And I am saying to her, the last thing I said to her before I said, look, let me just take a little sleep, was there is peace in the midst of the storm. That was the last thing I said to her. And I turned my face to the wall. I said, let me take a little lie down now. And then I said, there's a presence in the room. I turned just like that, very calm.
Mm-hmm.
I looked and I saw what I saw. A
different kind of stick at that time, right?
Yeah, boy. So, I mean, it wasn't anybody from my community, really, from who was arrested. But I never thought that somebody was going to come in my house with a gun.
Yeah.
Me, Beverly Ramsey-Moore, I do so much for young people in this Tobago land. Me, former assemblywoman who served as secretary for young people, as secretary for community development, with sports. Listen, I have given of my time and my talent. But you know what? God brought me through it. I was traumatized. And I'm here.
Yeah.
I am here. I survived that. And that was the peace in the midst of the storm. Because I remember my husband saying to me, when he came, he met the whole drama unfolding. And so he said, where's my wife? Where's my wife? And the person said, she's coping better than you.
Really?
She's coping.
We're supposed to be protectors and all. You shouldn't say that.
She's coping better than you, because I was just in the peace in the midst of the storm. But I probably was about 6 years or so. I think it's still before the court, so I don't want to really talk about it. But I'm done. I listen, when things take so long, and that is one of these problems. Why, listen, young people, just come in the Panyard, put down your guns, and come in the Panyard. And that is one of the, because I mean, I'm done with that. After so many years, I mean, just talking to you, I'm just emotional about it.
It would be, that's traumatic by any measure.
Because one, I was really shocked, not for me, and as one of my friends called, one of my friends from Plymouth, Sutika, and she said, Beverly, you? Somebody coming home by you? You know, but it is what it is. And, you know, sometimes God allows these things to happen, to position and transition you into a different phase and different sphere. And I mean, I have forgiven whomever that person is. I mean, there was an arrest, yes, but I have forgiven. I have left that up to God Almighty, because I don't even think I'm going to court. Because after all these years,
know what you mean.
My life gone way past that now. I am good. I thank God for life. I thank God for His mercy, which endureth forever. And I leave that to He. Sometimes He just throw that and say, God, you just take that and do what you want with that.
Yeah, we thank God for it too that you're here. So we never thought, most of us in Trinidad and Tobago who grew up through them, you never thought, whom are you? You know, it's just so strange to see crime in our communities.
Invade your privacy, you know.
In your home.
That's an easy, you know. Just grab my 2 feet, tie me up, tie up my 2 hands, push cloth in my mouth, all kinds of stuff in this.
Could you imagine?
This is what's going on, boy. And in my mind, I saying, boy, hey, if it wasn't a gun, I'd beat us. No, I'm telling you, because it wasn't a very big person. I watching the person, and I watching about this. If it was a knife, I would have tried to take it. But
well, thank God, all is well that ends well. It's true. The reality is that, unfortunately, is our true experience today in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay. It's just what it is. Right. So, going back to the little girl in Tobago, right? You said you went to Blackrock Government. Where you went from there? You was doing good in school and things?
Of course. And then I went to Harmon High in Tobago. So there's where I got my secondary education from. Yes.
Okay. And in school then, what was your thoughts in terms of what you want to be in life? What you thinking you want to grow up to be at the point?
I think Harmon High would have helped a lot in propelling me into leadership. Now, Harmon High in Tobago is, in those days, was a private school. You paid to go there. Right. All right, a private secondary school. So you pay to go there, and it is a religious school, right? So it is a school that is run by the Seventh-day Adventists. And so when you go there, they prepare you for life. It's you know, up to when my son, one of my sons, graduated from Signal Hill Senior Comprehensive School, and he wanted to continue and so on. He went to Harmon's High also, and he was like, "Mommy, you have to learn in Harmon's High, because if you don't pass in Form 1, you're not getting promoted to Form 2, Papa. No, you have to repeat.
Yeah.
You have to repeat, so you will always have to do well there. And so there is where your teachers and your role models there would have impacted and propelled you. So one, there's religious studies. Yeah.
So you're grounded.
That is a subject at school, I don't know if religious studies is a subject now, but that is a subject at school. So there is one session that you must study the Bible, right? So there is where you begin to get strong with your faith and the belief that I can do all things. Yeah? And so I think my time there, my 5 years there, would have definitely changed me and propelled me for that kind of leadership, making a contribution both spiritually and socially in my community of Tobago.
So in school, your leadership, because I mean, you ooze leadership. When you talk, you could hear the room gets quiet when you speak, right? I'm sure you experience all the time.
Yes.
But in school, you have that, you're a prefect.
So I was not a prefect at school because, even though you were in the school, I was not of the religion. All right. So even though you were not an Adventist, you could still attend the school.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I believe those top positions would have been for people of the same ilk.
Makes sense.
But you were allowed, so I was in choir, and I think I did some drama in my class also. But one of the things is that I had strong teachers. So I always saw myself as the protector of the less fortunate. When I say less fortunate, those girls that the boys would want to beat up. And so I always saw myself always helping and always serving. And I think there is where even that political part of me, because you were in school, and I think it was around 1973, 74, somewhere around there, 74, 75, 76, I guess. I think it's 76, yeah. That is when the whole Tobago self-governance with Robinson and Murray and those people. So here it is that you were somewhere in our Form 2, Form 3. And so in the class now with the politics, it was divided. So those who were DAC at the time and those who were PNM, so we have strong debates going on. And so even from there, from that 76 period, you became politically aware. And so at school, it provided all of that for you in the class. Religion, social work, because one of the things that at school, you always had to help others because that is what the religion is all about. So it prepared you for that. And also the politics, we discussed it and we debated it. And there's several different groups in school that helped to train you and to prepare you for life. And I think we had strong principal, Mr. Rupert Ryan, and then there was these teachers like Roel Granger. Roel Granger. Sometimes, teachers speak in your life, and there is something that I hold on to from since the time. I've held on to that. I remember a teacher writing in my report book. I can remember. Beverly has, I was in Form 2, my Form 2 report book.
Right.
Beverly has strong leadership qualities, but she must not allow anyone or anything to distract her. I think he was trying to send a message telling my parents, talking to boys now. So,
now you know the distraction.
In school, you must have a school boyfriend and thing now. So, but I think that is what he was trying to tell them, know. But
the leadership was there.
But so that seed was planted from since in Form 2. Roel Granger. Beverly has strong leadership qualities, but she must not allow anyone or anything to distract us. Stay focused, Beverly. Stay focused.
Well, it worked. Look how it worked out.
It worked. It definitely worked.
So coming out of secondary school, your ambition then is to do university and that kind of thing?
Well, in those days, in Tobago, in those days, that was not the popular topic in terms of going into tertiary. Then your parents couldn't afford it, as I said. And so immediately after that was all about getting to work.
So where you went and work? What was your first
So my first job after I left school, I started to work. I worked with Tobago United Cooperative. And that was in those days, that was a really big business establishment in Tobago. So they had supermarket, they had store. So I moved from supermarket into the store and then into the accounts department, where I also worked there part-time.
Right.
And after that, what happened? I think then the country started to see some troubles, adverse situations, economic circumstances. And after that company folded, and I think I just got married and started to
get distracted. Right?
Oh, God. Got married and then all of that. So I was home for a little while in terms of, raising my children and all of that. And then I started to work with the Tobago House of Assembly. And somewhere around 1992 or 1993, they interfered with me to get into politics. So I went into politics and I served there for 8 years. Now, the journey from secondary school, and after I would have obtained my full GCO level certificates and all of that, my journey then, as I mentioned to you before, a long time in Tobago, in the early days, you get married and after school, you get married and you raise a family and that kind of stuff. And so that was where it was all for me. And then after I had my children, some beautiful, beautiful kids, and got married, really settled down, really nice family. And then I got into politics, as I would have mentioned. And after politics, but you know what? Let me just say this to you.
Yeah.
So even when I was in my early 20s, one thing I had my own business.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It is so important. No matter where you work, always have a backup plan. Always have cash flow.
Multiple streams.
And that is why I think we could have built, my husband could have built our lives like that. Because I always say when I came into Pan Trinbago, I didn't come in here to look for anything. I had everything. So I didn't have to look right. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Good. So from my early 20s, and I worked with a manager at the time, Merle Roberts. And you see that little thing called Susu in Tobago? That's Susu. No. You see when that old woman holding your money and thing? That thing called Susu, you're paying your little money every week.
Right.
That Susu helped build so many of us in Tobago. And so there is where I started my business. My first loan was to start my business. And it's only when I became president of Pan Trinbago recently there that the business is still there. Sometimes you leave other people to do your business and your business. But I always know that there is where I will go back to.
Right.
So I would have been involved in business for more than 20 years.
And what kind of business were you doing?
So I first started with selling clothes and that kind of stuff. So I was into that kind of business. Boutique.
Right.
Yeah, I had the boutiques. I used to travel really often, going back and forth, and so on. And then after the boutique, where I was, there was this, my aunt would have then constructed a guest house. And to complement that, there was the need for a restaurant. And so, that's right.
Yeah.
And just before, when I came to Pan Trinbago, I said, you know what, nobody can fight up with this restaurant. That's how I fought up with it and was doing really well. And so my daughter, who is now responsible for that place, so we transformed it back into hair and beauty supplies.
Nice. Yeah, adjusting as the times go.
That's right.
Yeah. I got you. So in terms of because if I spent 8 years in politics, right? Let me tell you something about me. I retire after 8 years in politics, but my lock me up, but I retiring after 8 years in politics. So when did the love for Pan start and you decided to join Pan Trinbago?
I was born into Pan,
Serious?
Yes. I was born into a Steelpan family, the Ramseys of Black Rock. So my father and 7 of my uncles, they were responsible for the formation of Katzenjammers Steel Orchestra. As a matter of fact, it was 12 young men in 1951 who started the band, but my father and 7 of my uncles were part of that. All right, so if you look at Katzenjammers now, the Ramseys play a really big role. So since I was born, and I was born in the month of November, so that should tell you I'm a carnival baby.
So you picked the Pan one wrong thing. You understand what is happening.
So Pan in my blood, it's there. And so I was always involved from a child. I lived close to the Panyard. At one time, 2 steps and I'm in the Panyard. As a matter of fact, when my father built his house, he was in the early days, as you know, struggling days, he got electricity from the Panyard. I mean, talk so. I can't lock him up now. That done gone already. Long time. Right? Since I was a child. So I'm just illustrating how close I lived. But the thing about it, my father did not allow me, even though he was there. In those days, girls, you crazy. So whilst all my other siblings played, he taught me to play in the bedroom.
Yeah, play.
Yeah, he always had a pan in the house. And so, but I am very strong in administration.
Right.
I am strong. I can mobilize. I can lead. I can bring people together. I can pour in the oil and the wine. I can, make things happen.
Right.
And so after I came out of the Tobago House of Assembly in 2000, somewhere around there, 2000, 2001, then my brother, I as a matter of fact, I said to my brother, I said, I'm always into the business now. I love business. And I said to him, there is this band in Trinidad that's a family band. Why don't we form a family band? Because I am looking for business. So the family band would have probably been about a dozen of us in terms of the Ramseys who can play. And so the business aspect of the steel band, I would have used the band now and to go out and look for jobs and market and promote it. We could have done international gigs and all of that. And my brother said to me, nah, baby girl. Nah, them young boys are talking, nah, baby girl. Can't do that to Katzenjammers. He was a member. He was a player there and a serious frontline player.
Right.
Me can't do that to Katzenjammers. Come and help me. I said, okay. And so there's where I began. And then some of the other members approached me and to bring my skills to the table. And there's where I started to transform the band, because at that time, Katzenjammers was basically a little stage side of about 12 to 15 members. They were not participating in competitions. They were absent from competitions for about 17 years. And so when I got into the organization with them, I said, listen, I am not here to waste time, If I am to get involved in this, then we have to open up for all and sundry to come in. And there is where there was an agreement, and we developed a program called Pan Out Your Fullest Potential.
I see.
And we invited the parents and members of the community and the surrounding areas to send their young people. And so from 2001, when Katzenjammers celebrated its 50th anniversary, we started that program. And there's where the band transitioned, transformed, repositioned, and everything to where we are today. Yeah, gotcha. Great.
So I'd ask you about Daddy. Daddy protect you from the Panyard, or protect the Panyard from you. Now I ain't sure who protect who from who. But you're taking that role and leading jammers to, legendary status from then. But now jammers is jammers. But you're going into Pan Trinbago now, which is another role where I am not sure. You could tell me if I'm right or wrong. I don't know if it's a place where women are welcome, like in the Panyard. You say it wasn't a place fathers looking at the boys. You could go in the Panyard, girls, you had to stay home. Pan Trinbago and administration in Pan, was it a boys' club at the time when you're getting in?
Well, remember the Steelpan came from female dominated, where it came from. Women could not. I think there's a calypso, we talk about if you bring home a steel pan man, your family go break your hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Think about it. You can't have a steel. You crazy.
So what make you want to go in administration and that?
No, well, it started changing.
Right.
And you see a lot more women playing the instrument. Because you remember, you had people like Denise Hernandez. She was elected, but it was always a token. A woman as a token. So then you had Denise Hernandez. I think she probably was the first female who's, I'm not sure, but I know Denise Hernandez served on the Patrick Arnold Slate regime in his leadership. And then after Denise, when I was elected in 2009 at the time, I was the only female. And when I became leader, as I said, I became leader when the organization was dead broke and wanted that kind of cleaning up the brand and so on. And so even though I was elected and I didn't, it was not easy.
There wasn't welcoming you. There wasn't saying
not
so
everybody, but there was a few.
Right.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. They thought they could have managed me. One, they didn't know the political animal. Two, they didn't know the Bayside girl. Oh yeah. I'm a Bayside queen. And then there is that polished administrative. And as I mentioned to you before, I can act in so many different roles.
Yeah.
Some can say, no, go down there, leave me fish. Hey, let me fish alone. Give me my basket.
You're prepared for it.
I the Bayside queen.
Yeah.
And then there are some adjectives that could go with that too.
Well, you say you learn, all of we learn.
I am not into the adjectives again, but I'm just saying.
May I have them in case? You don't lose these kind of skills, you know.
Then there's the Steelpan. At one meeting in a meeting, who threatening to throw chair at me, and who carrying on in a ridiculous way and feel like a shut me up and so on.
Who threatening to throw chair at you?
What? Eggs. Who will throw eggs on me? Who will lick me down with a chair? You know what time I call police?
Well, the fish market, you get the best preparation to have you.
And one day I jump up in a meeting. I say, if all you think, I afraid anyone out there run in and play stupid. Yeah, it used to be terrible, you know. One man walk up to my AGM in a meeting and slam down the AGM documents on my hand, you know. And I remain at peace. Come here and go in no courthouse because I don't have a matter in court that I'm trying. So I know what the court system is like. So me and wasting time to go and report nothing and then to be going up and down. I just say, I just leave you to go. The true and righteous judge. And so all them drama. Here now, man, I go through hell, you know. But I ain't afraid. Because I ain't afraid nobody. They come, they picket, they do this, they do that. I am not even taking them on. Pan Trinbago security bill used to be very high because I'm female. And of course, we had to bring in security officers to treat with that.
Yeah.
But I am also resilient. And I said before, I am driven. Purpose. You see the word purpose? If you don't know your purpose, then you will fail. But I know my purpose. One, chosen. Blessed and highly favored. I know who I am. I'm powerful. If you don't know your power, listen. You have to know because, and I'm very religious, so I'm a believer. I'm a born again. So out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. I believe in that power. And that is why I believe in the power of the steel pan. Because it has a belly. And within that belly, the potentials and the positive power. And so...
You ready for it? I really come to ask you today if you are some gangster in here. I want to read something here, but see, where it come from now, right? Let me read it because when you hear these rumors and people saying things about you and your name easy to call, it seems like me and you are three sets of name, right? They say it's faulty when you have too much of name, right? But somehow Beverly Ramsey-Moore, you hear the name called all the time and all different. One of the things they say is, since Beverly Ramsey-Moore reached the Jammers care loss. And then I read something on Facebook saying, sometimes I wonder what's the difference between me and the other presidents of Pan Trinbago. In the past, presidents and central executive members played or danced on stage with their bands while the band was judged, and that was okay. That is their band. It was not a judging problem when their bands progressed and won. Fast forward to today, the majority of executives are players in their bands, from vice president to secretary, to treasurer to education, to PRO, etc., etc. That's great. Our constitution caters to that. So what happens to me and my band? The end of this statement say, rock so with the bull. I know what's coming after that. You know what I mean? Me so sure I can read so well, you know. So I come to ask you really if you have some gangster in you.
Don't run up my lane if I didn't send and call you. Because it was so ridiculous. As soon as, let me tell you something. Katzenjammers won festivals, Tuna Choice, in 1967. Katzenjammers won Panyard 21st Century, 2004, 2008. Katzenjammers won Panorama 2011, 2012 with Edwin Pouchette. Katzenjammers always in the top 3, top 4, top 5 in the medium band. Who is it now? Every president is a member of a band. You cannot be a member of Pan Trinbago or even a delegate in Pan Trinbago unless you are a member. The Constitution provides for that. And immediately when that question was asked, when the Katzenjammers won the hat-trick, that question was asked about conflict of interest. And then I saw a whole big newspaper, a whole big editorial about the band that she owns. I don't own a band.
Mm-hmm.
Katzenjammers is the pride of Black Rock Tobago, formed since 1951, never changed their name. It's a community band. People are elected to serve. And so I don't know what is the difference, but females. I see, listen, when you're a female leader, it's easy. I see Diaz play steel with the band. Up and down in Desperados. I see Photo on stage dancing with courts. I see Fozata Mande, forgetting him right now. Reed, may soul rest in peace, on stage with the band. I see Pablo on stage with the band. I see this one on stage with the band. All my executive officers right now playing with the band. Why are you coming for me?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, our judging system is one of the safest, honest system, a system with integrity. Our judges are the best. They go all over the world. People call and ask us. These are the same judges. So it's good in the single. They judge fair in the single pan category. They judge fair, but when it reaches the fray the president, boy, oh God.
And see why now? See why.
If I ain't put the president band first, he'll beat me.
That's what we does.
Listen, the system caters, one, you have 6 judges. You throw the highest, you throw the lowest. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's an alternate judge. So 3 scores are thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
Who you bribing?
Mm-hmm.
Which one? You know who pulling alternate, you know who.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody give you 2 high points, that's out. Somebody bias against you in the market. So you're telling me that the judge is caucusing in some special room somewhere to say who will give high, who will give low, and who will stick hands. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And when you have members of the media going down that road, that is why I had to say, rock so with your bull. Don't come with that. Don't introduce that. And that is so unfair. And trying to diminish the victory and the celebration of those young people. It's not me. It's those young players.
Mm-hmm.
It's the community that's celebrating. You're trying to say that this young man. Let me tell you something. I must talk about him a little bit.
Yeah.
You see that young man called Corie Ramsey? He's my nephew. What do they want me to do? Disown him? I will not disown him. That young man started playing the instrument from when he was about 4 or 5 years old. Got his gigs from he was about 8, 9, 10 years old. Grew up in a Steelpan family. Did what he had to do. Went to school, graduated, went to UTT, paid for himself. Well, of course, they got the help from Gate. But he came here, he never asked Auntie Beverly for what. I couldn't understand how I could have a nephew going to UTT. This is the president. You're not even showing up at my office one day to make up yourself.
Couldn't be me.
Auntie Beverly, lend me a little 200, nothing, That boy never asked me for 1 cent. But that boy is so talented. So he arranges not only from Katzenjammers. And listen, before we even took him to arrange our band, he was arranging for Eastside, other band in Tobago. And he was also doing a single pan band, right? And when we realized, suppose a medium man take him, boy.
Mm-hmm.
So we grab him. He always wanted to work with us. And he has put in the work. But an arranger alone can't win a Panorama, He bring in the music. But when you're scoring your pans, you have to have good pans. You have to have a good management team. When you go on stage, you must look like winners, you know. I say that to my players, and I say, let me tell you something. And I say it so that all band leaders will understand. One, it is all about participation and celebrating your culture and celebrating your instrument and your country. Winning and coming first, second, or third, that is just a little backup.
Right.
But the most important thing is when you hit that stage, have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself and see everything else as lanyard.
I'm with you. So I saw that article, right? And as a layman, I tell you, I'm new to the thing, right? I was a neophyte, right? So when I see the article, I and all have questions. As you say, the media have a role to play, you know, the transmitting a story. And it's people like David and Franca Phillips who was here who let me know. Well, first and foremost, they let it be known what you explained in terms of every person who's man. You have members, is the how Pan Trinbago is formed, according to Franca, was breaking it down for me. They also let me know that Katzenjammers win. All right, they say I know two ways about it. I listened to the arrangement. If I could talk about Corie Ramsey, well, but it's a phenomenal, like, that song, right? This year, Line Excuses was the song, is maybe for me one of the best written piece of Kaiso I ever hear is when So Divines, right? And Sparrow, a hell of a combination. And it's one of them things, as a purist, you might want to interfere with. You see, songs like that, they're done perfect already. But when I listen to it over and over and over and over and over. And me hear the rest of bands, right? So I depended on David and them to tell me they win. But that youth find a way to incorporate nearly every Kaiso I know, and I feel I know a good bit, that had anything to do with lying. He opened with extempo kind of phrasing, which is the biggest of the lie. Gypsy and them is the biggest lies have, at least in the extempo part, right? Not in the politics, don't get me in that, right? But in extempo, a big part of it is say something about a man. They have to be true. And every time you listen, the more you listen to it, is the more revealing it becomes. I hear several phrases from the greatest lie song it ever had, Nelson, King Liar. It just keep hitting you over and over. And I say, wait now, that's the beginning of King Liar. This is the part of this. I hear Pink Panther and all playing in the middle for when all your woman go through man phone and thing, you know what I mean? They play a piece of investigator when all they like to go through man phone. Saki tell them all that, you know. But to me, and again, completely ignorant because I didn't hear the rest of bands, but it was a hell of a arrangement. And the precision, I mean, we had to say that they didn't win. So the idea you feel internally is that when you're there, you mustn't win out. What's the situation? You know?
Well, that is exactly what the media and whoever else is trying to push. But I don't think that is really coming from band leaders, you know.
Right.
Because if band leaders felt that way, then I would not have been re-elected. But it's just some of the players and the media that pushing this dotish narrative. I say dotish. Should I say dotish?
Yeah.
Are pushing that kind of, narrative that does not make sense.
Right.
Do not underestimate a man's work. Listen to me. These guys went to school, all of them, not only Kirsch alone, but all the other arrangers who spend time at UTT and wherever else, learning from great Smooth and people who would have passed through and so on. You learned a lot from them. Lie down, because as he said, before he arranges, he thinks about the storyline. One of the first, I can't remember all the songs, but he did, so if you look at the three songs that we won with, this is Line Excuses, and girls, you all can help me, the others.
Find out,
for the others that if you notice the storyline, but it's always about he and, listen, he's telling a story about himself, because Line Excuses, I feel so.
Yeah.
I feel so. Would you like to rock it with me, baby? Now remember, he did rock it.
I see. So he was just referencing it.
And then before Rocket, he did another one, right? And so he's selling this story. Would you like to rock it with me? And now, Line Excuses. Now, his mother, of course, who is my sister, said, oh, this boy just telling his whole life story. People don't understand. And probably that is why he's getting through.
Of course.
Because as he says, he tells the story. So if you follow the music, and then he's also an African drummer. Right? So he too grew up in the cultural aspect of our community. Right? So he can drum for dancers. He could sing calypso. You know, he was junior soca monarch in Tobago. He sang a calypso. All in Trinidad, he made his stage Stanty Rose. That was the name of his calypso. So one of the things he always says is that he wants to get back into doing soca. So he has these rhythms, because even with that same song, when we sit down there, we some of the rhythms, and from his family background where he came from in terms of his spirituality, the rhythms of that religion. So that's why you could feel the power. Because everybody know that particular religion and the rhythms and the drums and the rhythms, and they get it, and they know. You could see it when the calabash come in, you could see it.
Of course.
Listen.
Part of our culture.
That's why I say sometimes if you don't understand, hush him out. Hush him out.
Well, I don't know how to see this man, this Corie Ramsey fella, because, it's funny, right? But I listening to the arrangement, right? And in piece of the arrangement, I sure hear rockets. That's for lying excuses, right? And I said, but what rocket had to do with lying? I went and listened to the whole song. I said, but what merchant playing that lying part in there? I missed, but I didn't realize it was probably just referencing.
It's just referencing to the last song that he won with, right? So he just brought, would you like to rock it with me, baby? And then he went back. In other words, he appealing, oh gosh, because he threw him, and then he had both of them to it. So he bring in a little piece of Sparrow, both of them. So when these two women on stage taking him on, let me tell you something. When we were doing the finals, he called me. He said, I need to get a bed on stage. In my head, I said, he had good. He crazy. What stupid is he calling me to tell me he want a bed on stage? So I brushed it off. I said, Kush, you see, right now, we would not be able to find any bed on stage, What we getting a bed on stage? The next thing I know, the man find a little bed. It was not until there was a certain part in the song that had a note, that had a kind of curve, so that when the band was executing that, the next thing I know is because he jumped on this bed with this woman on the bed to bring out a certain element of the arrangement.
Yeah.
And then after that, you come in and ask me, Bull? Nah, man,
Well, not that I know anything about these things, but the arrangements and all song like how argument this happen, it get loud and then it get quiet, and it get louder again.
Talking into airs when he come.
I hear neighbors with that. I never went through these kinds of things. So I hear it from them.
Listen, but you know what? And not only him, all the other arrangers now, I think that is part of the study at UTT. What you call that? Something arts? What is it?
I can't remember if it's carnival arts or what they call it.
Anyway, some arts... that is part of the study at UTT where they do drama and all of that. And so Panorama now is not Panorama of long ago. It has emerged. You not only come to hear the music, but you come to see.
Yeah.
So when you come, it's a whole, Renegades was on stage with a horse.
I saw. If you could bring a bed, you could bring a horse. Anything to ride, anything with riding involved.
Some people bring goats, some people bring all some people take it a little too far now. Yeah. I'm telling you, we will have to put some restrictions on that whole drama that is unfolding. Listen, you can't come with a whole 3 minutes before the song starts. So Pan Trinbago will definitely have to come up with some rules to control that aspect of it. But you see the panorama now. You're not only coming to hear,
spectacle,
but you're coming to see what's unfolding on stage when all stars and all these bands and all the fireworks, the theatrics.
Yeah, it's something else to see.
Yeah, I think it's theater arts. I think must be
theater arts.
Yeah, something of the sort. But it's a whole new dimension now, and I like the trend. I like where it's going, and it's opening up doors not only for arrangers but also for drill masters and for people who are now scoring the music. You have those because I see where some days this arranger, whilst they getting the music on the pan and playing on the pan, when the note hit them, then their colleague who might have been a UTT graduate would now be putting down the music.
Right.
So within that one space, a lot of opportunities are provided, employment opportunities are provided for graduates of the UTT and the University of the West Indies.
Yeah, seeing more and more opportunities created, which we appreciate it for. They keep saying that Pan is what going to save us, right? So we need that. So let me talk
believe
about the
that
parts
too.
of my life where it had no saving involved, right? And going to selfish part of the interview, right? Thing I want to see you bring back before we move forward. I grew up in a time where you never used to pay to go pan semis, you used to storm. Or they plan to bring back storming pan semis. Is that thing where they used to leave a little hole in that thing so you slide under so the dog man go. David, I like pan semis is about storming, right? You have to find a way to get in. You have any intention to bring back storming as the president of Pan Trinbago?
Well, here it is now. There was storming in 24. Yes. Hello. I don't know what happened, but I think people had tickets and couldn't come in. I don't know where these stormers are. So they will always be storming because tickets, people outside with tickets, and yet we met the quota.
Yeah.
So therefore, some people stormed. So you could never take that away from any fete or any panorama activities. There will always be storming. I see the people push down the gate,
Good. See you next
push
year.
down the gate, police out of the way. They just push the gate and they just rush and they came in and I take off.
That is one of the fun parts of semis. You find your way in. You get a dog man at $10 inside. A piece of the fence pull up so you go.
I take off. And they always find a way to cut holes in the fence. No matter how you fence, there's always a way when you look. Listen, these girls are so busy macoing fences for cuts. Yes, I tell you.
You tell me about resilience.
Look, somebody cut a hole through there. No.
Leave the hole. Right? So they don't disturb the peace. No. One of the things I see people complaining about semis, it could be, if it's not this year, it's last year. So the complaints where people say now the corporate entities buying out the whole semifinals and the average man can't get a ticket to buy. How do you respond to that? That's something you're working on?
You see, I started to stammer now. Listen. I'm really happy that I didn't say Roxo for that one. But
you're picking your fight.
Really?
You're picking your battle.
Because no matter what you do, you can never please everybody. You can never please everybody. And for me, it was a sign of positivity that things are happening. I did not only see it. I mean, yes, you will always have those persons who will complain and Pan Trinbago sell out and all of that. But I was so proud to know that the North Stand was sold out. I was so proud to know that the sponsors are back. Because let me tell you this. When corporate Trinidad and Tobago purchase North Stand tickets, who are they giving it to? Foreigners? These are workers. And the workers' friends. It's Trinidadians and Tobagonians in the North Stand having a time. But here's the joke. You know North Stand tickets up for sale all now, right?
Somebody tell me that they asked me who I have today. And that's a limit. They say tickets available now.
Listen. And it's the same thing last year. You can't wait until last minute to want to buy a ticket. We have sponsorship packages that we offer. And those sponsorship packages come with complimentaries. We raise, I'm sure, if not over, but close to $4 million. I have an organization to run. Government does not give Pan Trinbago a subvention every month, We execute Panorama, so government pays for Panorama. Pay the bands, pay the assistants, so everything Panorama. So during that period of Panorama, we will be given an administrative fee to run Panorama. After that is me to catch, You think all them who making noise in newspaper time with me, they don't even want to pay at $150 to come in a show after that.
Of course.
And we're extremely grateful to those persons who normally supports us. But the people who making noise want a complimentary.
Oh, that's what they're looking for.
What they're looking for. But anybody, for that North Stand in the back there, you know how much complimentary we just give away for North Stand? 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000 complimentary tickets Pan Trinbago gives out for the North Stand.
David, we need a storm next year. We good. I know you stushing.
So, I mean, the noise I was like,
Well, I myself, as an onlooker, I kind of balance in the two worlds of corporate and creative a lot. So when I hear corporate buy auditing, you know what it reminds me of? People complain about the NFL Super Bowl, which I always compare to what Panorama looks like because it's the same kind of setup. You have an organization that running it. You have 32 teams. The 32 teams play against one another every time and somebody go in the Super Bowl. The issue is always if the Patriots make the Super Bowl, the people from Boston can't get tickets because the corporates buy out all the tickets. So I think it's one of them things where we had I guess, continue to adjust as a society, but I feel it's a positive thing when you're getting the sponsorship.
Of course. And that is the money that we use to invest in our bands out there. We have invested over $1 million to the bands on the ground when the bands come back to us, and plus the other events that we put on. Because after Panorama, you don't really attract, even though you put on additional events, you don't attract that kind of sponsorship for the rest of the
the
year.
sponsorship will go to the attention goes.
That's right. So you basically get sponsorship during Carnival. But then we have events throughout the year. We have Pan and Powder in South Trinidad. We have Pan and Powder in Tobago. We want to do Pan and Powder in East this year. And then we try to provide that kind of support. We have an organization to run. We have 4 regions to maintain and all of that. So it comes at a cost.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying as well that Pan Trinbago is not Panorama, which for the person like me, you might see it as that.
And that is
when you have a whole year to run.
That's right. That is how persons saw. So when they say Pan and Pan Trinbago, everybody focusing on Panorama and Savannah. But no, it's not like that. We have 4 regions. So, all right, let me just say it like this. So, central government, Pan Trinbago, central, executive. And then we have 4 regions. We have the Tobago region. We have the South Central region. We have the Northern region. And we also have the Eastern region. They all have offices that they operate to service the bands in those districts on our behalf. And so there is this whole setup that we have to operate. And so we're not like, we are much broader than the other special interest groups. And so there is a lot that we do.
That's fair. The other question comes from that same area because one of the complaints or the gripes I hear people saying is that there's a group of youths who they're interested in Pan at all. So they go on, right now they want to move them on the drag because they say when breeze blow, they still hear the Pan down on the greens. So they want to put them on the next side so they don't hear Pan at all. The thought process there for the greens is something you support, is something that does it make money or what's the vision of Pan Trinbago where the greens is concerned? Because it barely have anything to do with Pan, right?
The idea of the greens, we will have to revisit. When I became president of Pan Trinbago, I did not entertain the idea of the greens because for me personally, as a band leader, I never really embraced it. And then the NCC board at the time reintroduced the greens. And for 2 years as president, I had to be running from the Savannah down into the greens, busy to go there and behave bad.
Yeah.
When I say behave bad, you know what I mean?
I know.
Because sometimes you have to behave bad, you know. Because the music loud, band on stage performing, the distraction, the next thing I will get is a letter.
So the music really does throw off what the judges hear and what's going on stage?
Of course it does.
Okay.
It does. But within the last year, I think last year, it was much better because we were providing with an opportunity. This year. This carnival, wow. So we had some conversations and what they have done is to introduce a big screen so that whenever the band is performing, those persons who are in the greens will focus on the stage and take in the performance. So it's something like that. It can work once it is monitored properly and once you have the necessary pan wardens, as we call them. We use persons and call them pan wardens to ensure that there are no disruptions. So once that happens, it can work. Whenever a band is performing, everything entertainment on the green, all entertainment shut down and focus on what's happening.
Oh, with you. I always saw it as an opportunity for younger people who, so they have some young people who they don't want to hear Pan. They come into FET, right? As the Scorch and the Caesar's Army and them of this world, they come in to enjoy themselves, which is to me, a revenue opportunity if I was in your seat. If them fellas and them who governing the youths now want to pay me a rent, I go rent them something. That's just the business side, right? I understand the creative side as well, because I remember a time in the North Stand where they used to have to beg rhythm section to stop playing when the band go and they say, nobody didn't take it on that. I went North Stand for many years and I hear a band. I used to hear the rhythm section. You know what that band played.
That we have brought under control.
Also, it's
by putting the wardens there.
Right.
So that whenever a band is ready, and then we have good communication between events committee and stage managers and all of that. So the information is transmitted and so on. Mm-hmm. So when the band is ready, then all noise or all drumming, all rhythm section, be quiet, be still. Mm-hmm. And so we have sort of mastered it, and with some improvements. And I just want to go back to the North Stand, because I would have, we focus on corporate. But so if we are selling 4,000 tickets for the North Stand, I'm just using a figure. 2,000 for general, and the next 2,000 is for corporate sponsors and for those who want to buy posse tickets. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. And so sometimes it's not really corporate, Sometimes, it's a good lime, you and your friends. So you want 20 tickets because that's for you and your friends to come.
Just done print and fill out and make.
So it's the posse. So everything, it's easy to blame corporate and to blame corporate. But sometimes we have large posses making up of families and all of that in the North Stand. But we're trying our best, and we know we are going to get it right one of these days in terms of how do we control. Because Trinis, you can't stop the party. They love the pan, they love the vibes, they love the rhythm. North Stand is life, I love it to go up in there. Yeah. I don't stick around too long because everybody has something to tell the president.
You should go get pulled.
But I really like the vibe, the North Stand vibe. This year we really managed it well in that we had the big groups purchase a tent with chairs and tables and so on, so that the food, and so we put restrictions. So don't take up your food and your bar and all of that up in the stand, because fire is really rigid. And long ago, my understanding is that the North Stand would hold about 9,000, but they've given us about 5, squeezing in once people put their food and their big, what you call the big coolers? They call them
big coffin kind of cooler.
Yes, and so on. Once you leave those downstairs, then everybody will be all right.
I see. Yeah. Well, Carnival is back in all. I think I remember a year when it was again a big debate about the greens, and even some of the promoters who I can't remember what the issue was then. This was some time ago. And the promoters pull out and people do their own events. But I remember even talking to people like David. I remember saying at the time when they showed this thing with the greens empty and a pool in the middle of the greens, I was trying to say at the time, listen, everybody have a role to play in Carnival, right? And the promoters and them, they have a role to play, especially because they, in whatever version they do, them is the ones who get people who's 15, 16, 17 to love this thing.
That's right.
Whatever they love about it, it has changed and evolved over time. But I remember Bacchanal Road was one of the events in particular. I remember seeing headlines that Bacchanal Road will kill Pan, and I said, but how? Pan is one of the biggest festivals I feel the world could, the world wants to see it, the world embraces it. So as anything else in any organization or any institution or any event, it go have ups and downs and it go have ins and outs, but Pan is a fixture, if I could say it like that.
I must say that Bacchanal Road is in the North Stand, not so? They're there, they're back with us.
Yeah.
And I think it's a conversation, because we always felt, on a semi-final day, no major promoter should be pushing an event to try to kill the national musical instrument. And I'm happy that Bacchanal Road is one of our large posses in the North Stand, yeah. And we always look forward to working with all persons who have the national interest at heart. So
of course.
And that is why we're going to carry the theme, legacy, because it's very important to know where we came from. So legacy helps me and the organization and the members to focus on where we came from. behind the bridge, to the world stage, to the world stage, the strength, the fire, the water, the sinking. Hey!
Very, 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 very real.
Powerful. So know your strength, know your power. And it comes with the legacy, because the legacy not only come just as a steel pan, it comes with ancestral strength.
Well, no better place for me to end there, I want to thank you for coming out. I was going to ask you, my last question was going to be how you're feeling and if you want to continue this, but I think we get the answer.
I'm so passionate. You see, the reason why I feel this way is because of the gift and the power, the blessings. I was sent, chosen, you know what chosen? Oh, I need a t-shirt.
Yeah, we need
chosen,
one. Yeah, we need
chosen.
One. I was going to ask you who you're going to send, and if the minister send, I want to know if you're going to choose somebody else and you're going to send.
So, chosen. And if you know that you're chosen for a mission, a journey, then the only one that can stop you is the power above. Nothing else can stop you. And so I continue to serve, because service to mankind is service to God. I love what I do. There are times when I'm knocked down. There are times when I do not feel to go the distance. But then when I remember chosen and that I'm on a mission, forward ever, backward never.
I appreciate that. Well, we want to thank you personally, because the truth about leadership is a lonely place. It have ups and it have downs, and leadership is difficult when your name and your face is one out there.
Gosh. Mm-hmm.
So we appreciate you for taking the time to come
you.
on. I want to appreciate your team too for making sure that this happened. And David, because David I said, David, me know enough about Pan. David said, boy, you had to do it. We had to do it this day, and this when we do it, and this it booked, and we can't do nothing else. So thanks to the team as well for making it happen. I appreciate it, and thanks a million.
You're welcome.